issue of removal of the interest rate cap, you will recall that the law capping interests in Kenya came into force in 2016 and set the maximum lending rate at no more than 4 percentage points above the central bank rate. This law was introduced following a public outcry against the high cost of credit. The implementation of the law was expected to lower the cost of credit, but also to increase access to credit. Unfortunately, the law had the opposite effect on the economy and reduced the amount available for credit. The removal, therefore, of the interest rate cap in November last year will facilitate the availability of more credit to businesses, which it will in turn increase the circulation of money. And at this point, I urge the Central Bank of Kenya to use the full range of instruments of regulation and policy at its disposal to prevent predatory lending and to ensure that banks can offer loans at affordable interest rates. Clearing bills is indeed a priority. And I'm pleased to note that following my directive in November of 2019, that all verified and genuine pending bills be paid immediately, about 70% of pending bills owed by national and county governments and have been deemed and verified as payable have been paid by the 31st of December. Similarly, with a planned infrastructure bond of 150 billion shillings, all infrastructure-related bills will be settled early this year, and this will go a long way to aid the completion of all ongoing road and infrastructure projects across our country. On this, I indeed appreciate the support that I have received from Parliament in appropriating budgetary resources that made it possible to make these payments. Five commercial banks in Kenya have set aside 10 billion shillings to be lent to MSMEs at an interest rate of 9% per annum in loan amounts ranging between 30,000 to 250,000 shillings. Partnership between the government and MSMEs in the construction industry to provide doors and windows for the affordable housing program is another policy program that we intend to follow through on. In line also with one of the recommendations for policy change in the Building Bridges report, Biashara centers will be established across the country to provide a huduma type of one-stop shop to provide business development services under one roof. The first Biashara center is now fully functional at Kariobangi in Nairobi. Fellow Kenyans, my second intent for the year is to increase the money in the pocket of our farmers. And I believe this will be achieved by directing our anti-corruption efforts against those managing the agricultural sector and exploiting their position for illegal gain and trading, sometimes in conflict of interest. I have also therefore directed action to increase the revenue to farmers as opposed to the middlemen and brokers. Today, after a period of lengthy discussion, I want to specifically deliver solutions on those issues that relate to the tea and coffee sector. Kenya remains a leading exporter of black tea, accounting for nearly 20% of total global exports. However, lately, the industry has been experiencing difficulties, particularly with regard to diminished earnings for the farmers. We have therefore decided to take the following actions to address some of these concerns. The first is with regard to pricing policy and mechanisms for smallholder farmers. The key concerns are on low prices for tea, delayed payments, low initial payment by KTDA, and fluctuations in the net income of tea farmers. Smallholders